Guys, what's going on? Welcome to Cereal at Midnight. My name is Heath. Just shot the thumbnail, so everything's still kind of fanned out. We're going to talk about new arrivals from Mill Creek Entertainment in this episode. We've got 4 new installments in the Retro VHS Slipcover Blu-rays. They're Blu-rays, but they look like VHS. The packaging is retro. They've got like videotapes on them. We also have the latest Ultraman release. This is Ultraman Tiga. And we have one more item. We have a Vince Vaughn double feature. You know, that's a good place to start. You see to my left here, to your right, I think is my left. I've pulled the previous, all the Ultraman releases because people kept saying in the comments, well, now that Ultraman has switched over to DVD for all these standard definition shows, because that's what exists, they look so weird on the shelf. Do they? Do they? I don't know that I agree with that. Let's talk about this Vince Vaughn double feature. So this is The Breakup and The Dilemma. Now, I saw The Breakup on cable way back in the day. Like, I don't know, when is this from? 2006. It's probably when I saw it. It's got a great cast in it, though. It's got Jennifer Aniston. Isn't this the movie that was like part of the marketing? This is how far we've come as a society in the last few years. I feel like part of the marketing for this was Jennifer Aniston shows her rear end. Is this that movie? You would never market a movie around that now, but I feel like that was a big draw, like to get people in the theaters. Listen to the cast on this thing. Joey Lauren Adams, well, okay, Vince Vaughn, Jennifer Aniston, Joey Lauren Adams, you know, from Chasing Amy fame, and Margaret, oh, Viva Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. Okay, I don't know why I did that. Jody Davis, Vincent D'Onofrio, Jon Favreau. There's 2 Marvel people right there, because D'Onofrio he was Kingpin in Daredevil, and of course, everybody, Jon Favreau. Everybody knows his connection to Marvel, right? Cole Hauser, John Michael Higgins, Justin Long. That's a lot of people. And then The Dilemma, which I've never seen. I'll be discovering it for the first time here. It's got Vince Vaughn in it, of course. It's also got Kevin James in it. It's got Jennifer Connelly, who I love forever in The Rocketeer. We got Labyrinth. I'm going to throw out Career Opportunities, my favorite Jennifer Connelly performance. Probably one of my favorite movies of all time. Winona Ryder, Channing Tatum, and Queen Latifah in a movie directed by Ron Howard. It was a romantic comedy directed by Ron Howard. When is this from? 2011. I don't even remember that coming out. But now both of the movies are on this one Blu-ray. There it is. 2 films, 1 Blu-ray. About 3 hours and 39 minutes on 1 disc. Should look fine, right? Let's dig into these bad boys right here. Fresh releases in these retro... I love these retro VHS releases. Start with Casual Sex. I haven't seen this movie in ages, but it's Leah Thompson, who... Back to the Future, man. Forever. Howard the Duck. There's so many... so many different directions you could go with. Like, this is my favorite Leah Thompson. Victoria Jackson, who was a Saturday Night Live cast member in the 80s and maybe to like very early 90s. Anyway, this is a sex comedy from the 80s. It's like, whoa, sex is changing in the 80s, right? And it's got, I'm trying to look at the cast. Andrew Dice Clay, the Dice Man. Oh! The Dice Man is in this movie. And it says it's got songs by Buster Poindexter, Dan Harmon, and Gladys Knight. Let me show off the... Sometimes people say things like, well, why does it look like... Why didn't they just go with like the VHS cover? And why do they have the tape sticking out? Because the dimensions. Because of the dimensions of a Blu-ray case, it either would be too long, you'd have dead space on the sides, or you'd have dead space on the top. You have to do something with the dead space. So they put the tape there. I should also say, we have covered every single one of these retro VHS slipcovers. In fact, there's a playlist on the Cereal at Midnight YouTube homepage. If you go to youtube.com/CerealAtMidnite, there's a playlist with every single one of these retro VHS releases reviewed. And I also like these because you get different artwork underneath. No special features. It's just the movie in high definition. Probably from an older scan, let's be honest, but the price is right. These are like $10, $12 at most places. That's the right price. Splitting hairs, splitting airs. You say this however you want to say it. Splitting hairs. Rick Moranis, Eric Idle, Barbara Hershey, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and John Cleese. And now for something completely different. This was written by Eric Idle, and it has John Cleese in it, so if you love Monty Python, you need to be aware of this if you're not. Premise of the movie is that Eric Idle is supposed... How do I want to get this deep into it? Eric Idle and Rick Moranis are basically fighting for their role as, like... Is it a prince? It's been a while since I've seen this one, too. The 60s, Thomas Henry... Okay, the 15th Duke of Bournemouth. That's what they're both, like, one of them, they're switched at birth sort of a thing. And so Rick Moranis is in the position, but it should be Eric Idle, so it gets 80s funny. And I don't know, it's fun. It's a fun movie. This is one of those that, for me, used to come on broadcast TV in the 90s, like on a Sunday afternoon. I'm like, oh, well, I'm watching Splitting Hairs now. But it's fun. It's a fun movie. I love Eric Idle. I was going to say he's probably my favorite of the Pythons. Do I go that far? I think he is my favorite of the Pythons. Cleese had the moodiness. Palin was good as well. But Eric Idle had the music connection. He was friends with George Harrison. I think, yeah. Cull! Kevin Sorbo and Cull. Now, we've been talking a lot about Hercules, The Legendary Journeys lately because it just came out from another distributor in a complete series box set. Hopefully you saw our coverage of that. So I've been watching a lot of Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. I saw this in the theater, probably on opening day, because I always like to see things on opening day. It's not great, you know. It's a very 90s, like if you go in here wanting Conan, you're not going to get it. But it's a very, you know what Hercules, the Legendary Journeys was for that sort of a genre. It pulls it back, it makes it goofier, more fun, lower bar of entry, right? But I had a good time with it. And it was cool to see Kevin Sorbo doing something that was not Hercules and could be a little bit more violent. Like the special effects were better, because this was a studio picture. See, this wasn't some syndicated TV show. This was a Universal movie. Now, I already have this on Blu-ray because Universal did release it as part of their... You know, it's just a Universal Blu-ray. But Mill Creek has now picked up the rights to distribute this moving forward, at least with this pressing, and they've given it the full Retro VHS slipcover edition. So there's our two pieces of art. There's the backs. And then last, but certainly not least, I saved my favorite for last. Renegades. Bye-bye, old DVD of Renegades. I now have the Blu-ray of Renegades. You guys, this movie is so much fun. It's like an undercover cop movie, like plainclothes cop, from when 21 Jump Street was on TV. This is Kiefer Sutherland, who's amazing. I love Kiefer's. You guys heard his music? He's got like really good, it's like country, like California country, sort of like honky-tonk, Bakersfield almost. Like, it's good. Anyway, Kiefer Sutherland, Lou Diamond Phillips, after Young Guns, but before Young Guns 2, they've reteamed here for Renegades. They're, you know, I tell you, it's cop drama, cop action, really. Jamie Gertz is also in here, star from The Lost Boys. Thou shalt not fall. So you got your Kiefer, Jamie Gertz connection. You've got your Kiefer, Lou Diamond Phillips connection from Young Guns. And it's just a fun late 80s cop drama, you know, I keep saying drama. It's, you know, it walks the line between an action movie and a drama. Anyway, when I found out about this, I was like, yes! The YASSS version of yes. Yes! I was so excited to finally have this in HD. So just recapping here, they all look like this on one side of the spine, and then on the other side of the spine, they look like this. Interesting to note that Casual Sex does not have the label. So, I don't know. But if you line them up like that, they certainly all do. Alright, you know what time it is now. It's time for some Ultraman discussion. This is Ultraman Tiga. Now, this comes from the 90s. Previously on Cereal at Midnight, we talked about the Ultraman anime series, and we talked about Ultraman 80. Ultraman 80 was kind of the end of the line for Ultraman for over a decade. They let it cool off. Tsuburaya Productions just kind of let things cool off. They come back with a couple of co-productions. One was with a South Australian production company. Another one was with another production company. Those are, I think, like 94, 95. Anyway, this is 96. Let me double check myself. 1996. Yeah, this is the first one that Tsuburaya produced themselves, by themselves, since Ultraman 80. So 16 years. So some of you guys are going to be like, well, are we going to get those other two series you just talked about on DVD or on disc? Well, as far as I know, from what I understand, because Tsuburaya does not have the total control of those licenses, they can't just license those out. So probably not, but that's not saying definitely not. But that's why, because it's not just Tsuburaya being like, well, we can license that to you. There are other cooks in the kitchen. So this comes along, and you want to see it, right? You want to see what it looks like. Here's the front. Here's the back. Here's one side of the spine. It's the other side of the spine. This nice clamshell case. And as with all Ultraman, as we've come to expect, we have a booklet here. We have the discs. We have different art on each disc. So 9 episodes on that disc. Episodes 1 through 9, 10 through 18, 19 through 27, 28 through 36, 37 to 45, and 46 to 52. We pull out the art wrap to show you. So that's what we're talking about. Flip it over. That's what it looks like. And let's go through the booklet really quick. There's the booklet. There's all the that's the, of course there's more than this because we've got G.U.T.S, Orb, X, etc. But this is going to be the core series, right? The Showa era. And I guess we've moved into the Heisei era now. Page 1 and 2. G.U.T.S. That's the name of the agency for this. There's always like a science patrol team. They are G.U.T.S. What does that stand for? Do we have the Global Unlimited Task Squad? G.U.T.S. Episode guide. I mean, it's really just... So, it's reduced from what we have seen from the past where they have like key tech and kaiju information and things like that. This is more streamlined than that. Let's talk, since we covered the anime and Ultraman 80, I've gotten lots of questions and I've seen a lot of, frankly, anger. Tsuburaya Productions, Mill Creek Entertainment is releasing what Tsuburaya Productions has licensed to them. There are no HD transfers available to license for any of these. That's why they're on DVD. The choice was to release them on DVD or to not release them at all. I guess, again, they could have done a standard definition on Blu-ray situation, but it's still, those of you who support that, you're probably anime fans because it's mostly anime that's getting that treatment. And I understand that this kind of fits in with that. But anime is a specialty thing. You don't usually walk into Walmart and pick up the latest, 52 episode series of whatever on Blu-ray, on a standard definition on Blu-ray thing. That's very much fan geared for those that know. I still think there's a ton of confusion in the marketplace about standard definition on Blu-ray. I think it's frankly just more of a headache to even worry about. And I'm going to say this too, because this is worth considering and thinking about. DVDs outsell Blu-rays by about 4 to 1. You know what? DVDs make up about 70% of all disc sales. So by switching to just Blu-ray for something that they can release and really should exist on DVD, standard definition materials, 78% of those sales are coming from DVDs on average each month, right? So it just makes sense. It does, like, you can complain, and then I've seen you've complained a lot, but that's why it makes the best business sense and it's best for Ultraman. We want this stuff to sell. We want to see it in stores. We want to see it in Best Buys and Walmarts and Targets and wherever else. We want this stuff to sell. We want people to see Ultraman. These prices are, they're like $20 per season for these shows on DVD. I think that's great. I think it's great. So, I don't know. I feel fairly glass half full for the Ultraman situation. I am so excited that even after we got these core Showa era series, they have continued with Heisei, and we will continue to move forward. You know, Mill Creek has been busting their hump to get these shows out on disc for us. And I think they've done a great job. I think these look really good. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. We'll talk about Ultraman. We'll talk about Ultraman Tiga. I'm going to talk about these retro VHS releases, which I'm so excited about. Guys, that's going to do it for new arrivals from Mill Creek Entertainment. Oh, Star. Not Star from the Lost Boys, but Asterix. The Randolph Scott collection, I have asked. It has been moved to the first part of November, but I am told it is shipping first part of November. That it is on hand. It has been assembled. It is ready to go for the 1st of November. You know, where there's so many supply chain issues right now. There's materials shortages. There's labor shortages. You got, like, people watching this in 2032. They're like, I vaguely remember that. Hopefully, they're not like, well, we still are waiting on those supply. Hopefully, we're way beyond that in 2032. But there's a lot going on right now to slow things down. But I have been told that they are shipping first part of November, and you will hear it from Cereal at Midnight first when we have that Randolph Scott collection in hand. I'm tremendously excited about it. Love that Randy Scott. All right, guys, thank you so much. Take care. Until next time, here's where to go and what to do.